with my masterclass series. This is the third one. Last week, we talked about the fertility blueprint, and that would be more the application. Today, I'm talking about more the philosophy behind epigenetics, continuing on with our theme. And this masterclass series is a HIELO masterclass series, actually, and it's based on inviting people into a conversation about what it means to live well. So lots of very exciting things ahead of us. And as I said last week, we talked about are we the ancestors of an endangered species? Looking at the epigenetics, human flourishing, and the legacy we leave our future generations. So the question I'm asking today is, when your great-grandchildren look back upon your generation, what will they say we passed on to them? So will it be health or disease, wisdom or stress, hope or fear? Just let that float around a little bit, and let's see by the end of the conversation what you feel. So if you feel we are the ancestors of an endangered species, stay tuned, because that's what is going to be the outcome of today specifically. So I'm going to start off with the human history. We're living longer. We're becoming sicker. There's more and more technology, faster and faster speed. There's more information, more and more medications, more and more derivatives, more and more suddenly compounds being synthesized, moving more and more away from nature. Yet we have more chronic disease. We have to ask ourselves these questions. Why? And right down in the middle of all of this are the genes, the genetics, our genetic code. Bearing in mind that 99% of our genetic code is microbial. From that exact microbiome reset from the 365 Healthy by Choice Center. The microbes contribute to 90% of our genes. So wow, that's a lot. The remaining percentage is really whether we have blue eyes or brown eyes, tall or short, large frame, small frame. So it's a really, really large part. So that small percentage that's left are the genes and the genetics we're talking about, and the epigenetics. Epigenetics means above the genes. The genes are proteins. They're situated on little strands, little gene loci, and there's millions of them. People who go for DNA tests are only measuring a small little fragment of our DNA. So don't think you've done your DNA assessment. On the NQB quantum assessment, we do all the genes, all the chromosomes, just to put that in perspective, and we clear and repair and realign them. So epigenetics have got to do with emotions and how emotions shift the genes. And disease will then set in, which changes the gene. So the first part of it is the epigenetics, and then you get a shift in the genes. So if we have, for example, anger in the grandfather, anger in the son, anger in the grandson, you will find that there will be liver issues in all three generations and generations to come until that anger is released, until it is cleared. And that's the beauty of the holistic ancestral orientation process that we do. We actually get to the origin, we clear it, we hand the memories back, and the clients alchemically shift. And it's noticeable, it's palpable, you see it, they know it, and it's measurable because I measure it with my quantum NQB device as well, the before and afters. And you can see differences in oxygen uptake, water, brain amplitude, voltage charge of the body's battery immediately. So I turn it on, I don't do anything, we run the HIELO process and I measure it. So this is evidence-based medicine, measured observed in the client and the client telling you that they have shift. They are in a place of peace that they haven't been in before. And then we wait. We don't have expectations, but we wait and see. And I spoke last week about that as well. Suddenly families come together. Suddenly issues are not issues. They're not spoken about anymore. Suddenly people understand why these emotions are there in the first place. And that alchemical shift is when the genes shift back to normal as well. So genetics is, the genes are not the responsible thing. It's the epigenetics, which is emotion related. So the environment, yes, will affect the genes. If there's poor nutrition, lots and lots of toxicity, and it just hits straight on the genetic code. Yes, that can happen. Lifestyle factors, of course, lack of sleep, too much stress, no exercise, sitting all the time, lots of toxic environmental exposures. That will definitely affect the gene. But the main shift in the gene has got to do with the emotions and our lifestyle. This is where my HIELO quantum well-being compass comes in. And it's a holistic, integrated epigenetic life orientation compass, focusing on the body, the brain, the emotions, the spirit. Intertwined with that, relationships, behavior, meaning, our purpose, what holism really is. That would be the difference between experiential and existential. And the whole role of self-awareness, self-discovery, because at the end of the day, we are here to discover ourselves, and we're here to experience. We're here to experience duality and climb out of that box and reunify into binary holism. And let me explain that. In a dual world, happiness and sadness are at opposing poles on a linear scale. In the unified existential field, they're living together in binary yin and yang, you could say, working off each other where the gaps get closed. So that's very big difference. And that's where we operate in the existential field, and we're balancing emotions. So all of these things, relationships, our behavior, the meaning that we're searching for, our purpose, and then operating in this holistic realm are crucial to self-awareness, self-discovery, raised consciousness, deepening our awareness into who we are. And I think that's mostly what humans are searching for. They're searching for peace. And to achieve peace, you need to know who you are inside. Most people are looking externally, going to this doctor, that natural methodology, that kind of exercise, that kind of place for their holidays, or whatever, taking these kind of breaks and so on, instead of going within. The inner voice, the inner child, the inside of us is where all the answers are. And that is the existential field. It's the super consciousness and the subconsciousness. Consciousness is here. It's our brain. It's full of self-doubt. So we don't want to operate here. We want to use our brain for 1 + 1 = 2. Okay? And we want to use the heart and the gut for our interpretation of life, our growth, our understanding of self. And that's internal. So actually the answers are inside. And many people come in, and what I say to them, they already know. So it's about understanding that we have everything inside us. We have the inner alchemy. We have the pharmacy inside us. We have the answers in us. We just have to be quiet and allow ourselves to access that information. So if we're moving then and understanding that this HIELO perspective will deal with holistically, and we will get a result each time, and people will deepen into peace, deepen into courage, deepen into joy, deepen into freedom, deepen into unconditional love. So we have the tool. Now we've got to look at the legacy that we inherit. And we all do. And we've got 2,500 years of measured time. So just imagine how many rocks we're carrying in our rucksack. How many episodes of anger, sadness, fear, hatred, grief, jealousy. Many, 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 many. and how many have been passed on and will continue to be passed on, because we inherit this at birth. When the blood passes, the DNA passes through, and so do the molecules of emotion. All right, and different siblings will choose different molecules of emotion. So that's why, how can you say same family, same food, same house, same everything, this one develops that particular dis-ease, or this one develops this mental disorder. It's about what you chose to witness, experience, and learn from this lifetime. And the people who are responsible for showing you this are not the ones to blame. They're the ones you called in to teach you betrayal, abandonment, resentment, deep sadness, grief. So it's not about blaming. If we can get out of the blame frame of mind, we will stand up, we will own our issues, we will be responsible, and we will work through it. We will close the gap between fear and courage, raise our awareness, deepen into consciousness, self-realize, self-transform. That's what the how is all about. So it looks at this legacy that we've inherited. That's why my question in the beginning was so pertinent, and I'm going to ask it again. So patterns of behavior are passed on. Could be alcoholism, any form of addiction. It could be just general coping strategies. All men leave. Bad experiences with men down the line. All men leave. Dads died early, things like that, for example. Not worthy. That's a big one. There's not enough. Scarcity, poverty. And then we develop coping strategies where somebody will decide, I'm climbing out of this box. I'm never going to be poor again, and I'm going to gun for money. And I'm going to get there, come hell or high water, and I'm going to be able to buy what I need to buy. The question is that going to bring you happiness? Is that going to bring you peace? Is that what this was all about, actually? Instead of sitting back and saying, well, what was I supposed to learn? Did I learn my lesson? So you will unhealthily get to that, let's say, high financial position, but you're not going to be healthy inside. There will be triple bypasses. There will be depression, for example, and that kind of thing happening. So at what expense? So that construct, climbing out of poverty, that's called a construct. And that is what we have to be very careful with, because that is a coping strategy. Someone was dropped off at a boarding school. Coping strategy set in. They were scared. They were fearful. Never wanted to be alone again. Never wanted to be abandoned. And therefore, they developed a coping strategy, and that became their target in life. That's what they did. Come hell or high water. One girl came in to see me. She was bouncing, I don't know how many balls in the air at any one time. And we went back into childhood. And she dropped a glass one Sunday, a teacup one Sunday afternoon, and her father shouted at her, gave her a smack. And from that day onward, she decided that everything was going to be perfect and she was never going to drop anything. So she just tries to prop up all these balls and not look after herself, hasn't put herself first. She's exhausted. And then when we unraveled this, she saw what she was doing. She saw how she was coping. And we cleared their memory and from before, and peace prevailed. Unconditional love, self-understanding, transformation. So relationship dynamics are crucial, and the closest ones are our mother and our father and our siblings and our partners. And they are all mirrors to teach us. We're moving down our path of life, and these mirrors are along the way, which we set up. So we take ownership of the experience. And we grow from the experience. If we don't, we will repeat the pattern, we'll repeat the pattern, we'll repeat the pattern, and the knock gets louder. Eventually, they come in with cancer. Eventually, they come in on 5 psychotropic medications for the brain, because the brain can't cope anymore. That type of thing. We don't want that. So beliefs are transferred down as well. Religious beliefs, for example. And if you happen to be a child that never took those molecules, there's going to be religious conflict between you and the family. Just simple. I'm just going to use that as an example. Health habits are passed down. Mom exercised daily, and then 1 or 2 of the children could easily pick up that habit. Eating habits also also can be an issue. Too many sweets, too many sweets, too many sweets. Our responses to stress can be passed down, and family narratives. So these can influence the well-being across generations. You can imagine. And this you would easily understand. And this is what we're clearing with the how. So when we look at the holistic ancestral orientation part of my HIELO compass, this is where it really becomes beautiful, because we're not fixing emotions. We're helping people become aware, understand what's going on, and release that emotion. They do it. Their body speaks. It's definitive. It's in the subconscious field of knowledge. And then once they've released it, they can choose differently. They can see things in perspective, and they can create a healthier future. They're not shouldering their childhood experiences for the rest of their life and being dysfunctional as adults. Some people take their constructs and their childhood experiences into the grave. Are you that kind? And, this is really, it's really part of my philosophy, is to think clearly, live productively 365 days a year. And to do that, we have to clear. And if we don't, we enter the same marriage again. Repeat the thing, it's worse. That kind of thing. So we can't move countries. It goes with us, sadly. And we have the most beautiful tool here, the how, to fix these emotions. And people would just say to me, wow, Jane, I never looked at life like that. I never saw it like this. And this kind of thing people should, know. You've been learning it at school probably. So within that compass, we've got 4 phases that are repetitive, an iterative kind of a process. I must have done about 80 of these. So we reset in the beginning. We become aware of, we do benchmark assessments, physical, neurological, emotional. We then go about restoring, and we choose what we need to use to do the changes. It can be the 365 Healthier by Choice nutrients, infrared saunas, acupuncture, live blood analysis, oxygen drips, the how work. Then we allow the body to rejuvenate. We change our lifestyle, we change our nutrition. I had a lady today. Her husband actually said to me, what is the secret? He said, I can't believe my wife. In 1 month, I cannot believe she's the same person. I'm telling you, she did it. She changed her nutrition. She sent me photographs of her meals for me to check even that she was on the right track. She came in here with the shining face. Today, a month ago, she had a very, very gray, dull look about her. There was no life force. So you do it. I can't do that for you. I always say, I'll educate, I'll advise, I will guide you, but you're going to do the work. I'm not at home cooking your meal for you. I'm not at home making the oxygen, So that we allow this body to rejuvenate, and by living differently. And then we remeasure, we rejoice, because like her, she was just smiling and laughing. In fact, her shift was so dramatic, the husband came with to see, who's this woman that's been speaking to her? How did she manage to achieve this level of health and well-being in 1 month? And inexpensively as well. Now, this is tending towards leading a better legacy, because now suddenly the whole family eats differently. So the genetics, the epigenetics, everything starts shifting, because if you're eating healthy food, you're going to be thinking healthy thoughts. It's a fact. It's logic. So then the children that follow will benefit too. That is a better legacy. That's tangible. And when we consider the children yet unborn, what inheritance will your grandchildren receive? What inheritance will your grandchildren receive? I'm not talking financially. Biologically, what will their physical body, disease, strength, etc. Emotionally, what sort of disorders, behaviors, addictions, kindness, anger, spiritually, closeness to self, closeness to oneness, deepening into consciousness, deepening into understanding who you are. And environmentally, what environment are we leaving? What social and physical environment are we leaving? These children yet unborn. These are the questions I want you to think about today. That's what we're discussing. So what is one legacy you wish to leave? You've got a pen and paper, write it down. Just one. And take that home with you. Remember, things have ripple effects. And I mean, here's just some of my thoughts, but perhaps the greatest gift we can leave future generations is not wealth, but well-being. Not possessions, but possibility, hope. Not fear, courage. And perhaps that journey begins when one person chooses to become aware. And this really, I think, underpins my philosophy today, behind the fertility blueprint and behind my HIELO quantum well-being framework. You know, it's part of the legacy I want to leave. And what really motivates me and spurs me on is how do inherited family patterns, lived experiences, beliefs, behaviors, and emotional responses shape the choices we make and the legacy we leave for future generations. This is crucial to me. It's that genetic DNA blueprint. And I think the greatest legacy we leave is not measured by what we accumulate in our lifetime, but the health, the hope, the wisdom, the opportunities we help create for generations yet to come. This captures the heart of what I've shared with all of you over the years. It reflects my passion for prevention, always, my commitment to educating people, and my belief that true well-being extends beyond the individual to families, communities, and future generations. And I will continue along my path doing this, helping people think clearly, live productively, and live 365 days a year. So I've got a special masterclass offer, saving 15% on the selected 365 Healthy by Choice signature nutrients. Please go to the www.365healthybychoiceshop.com and avail yourself to the 15% off and get on the way to leaving the legacy you want to leave. And I'm also offering a complimentary 10-minute WhatsApp consultation. You can book it with me at +27 83 459 6208. Book it on WhatsApp with me, and I will definitely call you and we will book your 10-minute consultation. Anything you want to discuss. And that ends today talking about, are we the ancestors of an endangered species? And epigenetics, human flourishing, and the legacy we leave our future generations. I hope you've loved this. It's one of my favorite topics, favorite areas. And I just think one of the areas where I really excel too. We can line this table with bottles of stuff, as pure as you like, as food state as you like. But if we don't kill that emotion, we're stuck. So the emotion is the root cause behind the physical root cause. And it's going to be the disorder. Anger, fear, sadness, hatred, jealousy, grief. So with that, I'm going to end today, and we'll see you next week for the next masterclass. I will be recording this and putting it up onto YouTube and on the WhatsApp groups. Go well.